Hello everyone and welcome to Exo's podcast number 2. So here I am again with my weekly podcast. I just started it obviously 2 weeks ago, and I've been getting good input from the people who've watched it. Says it's helpful, says people say it's taught them a few things and what to be aware of and so forth, and so I decided to go on and keep it going. So it's going to be weekly for now, like I said, and today I chose something that people really, I think, for the most part, don't even contemplate. It's about how to deal with warpgate, but as a different response. So basically an alternative for zerg to deal with warpgate pushes in general, not necessarily for a warpgate, because obviously there's many variations of warpgate play for Protoss, and it can go with fast expand. It can be more than 4, it can be less than 4. Usually we're talking about 4 or more gateways, and on how zerg is supposed to respond. Now, a lot of zerg players decide to get a fast expansion over here. This map is obviously Shakur's Plateau, so I'm going to talk more about this, and then I'm going to extend the discussion to other maps. But the thing is, on Shakur's Plateau, you're generally safe from a cross push that is close to you with 4 warpgate, and you're generally gonna decide to fast expand. It depends, obviously. You scout out your opponent, and depending on what he does, you fast expand or not. The thing is, you always have the option to actually cancel that fast expansion. It's not that big of a loss, but for the most part, as we can see here, Katz is expanding. So yeah, I didn't present the players, by the way, since it's not a usual shoutcasting match, but I'll try to do a little bit of both and do the analysis and the shoutcasting at the same time in this game. It's a really good game, by the way. I just watched it and I thought I'm gonna do this week's podcast on this one, because this is really interesting what happens in this game. So it's going to be ROOTCatz spawning as the red zerg at the 7 o'clock position, and SilverSnowXP and whatever at as the blue Protoss spawning at the 5 o'clock position. So here we go. Katz is opening with a standard economic build for zerg. I mean, this is what you do: 15 hatch, 14 pool, or 15 hatch, 15 pool. And now Katz is scouting this out. He's going to see the fast expansion from the Protoss. So this is what I meant, a variation of warpgate technology. In this case, it's going to be a fast expand with a forge. So the Protoss is going to work on securing his natural over here, protecting his ramp, and then he's going to think about how to actually create any trouble for Katz and the pushes. Obviously, it's going to be warpgate pushes in this game. It's why I chose it. But yeah, we saw some attempt there at blocking off the ramp or causing some difficulties for Katz. Didn't work out. It's just mostly something you do to keep your opponent, make him think that you're going to try some cheese or something like that, but you're actually not going to try it. So yeah, but it does make him sometimes, it does make him make some decisions that won't really lead to anything, because you're not going to try any cheese. So yeah, but the thing is against the fast expanding Protoss, your best bet, your best option, if you see the fast expansion, is to out expand him, is to out macro him. You know that you're not going to have to worry about, especially if you see a forge. If you see a forge, you're going to know that there's not going to be any sort of early aggression. So this gives you the chance to drone up as much as you can. And we see Katz in this case, taking a look at the income temp, he has 26 harvesters, but he would have more, let's say, if Silver would actually save his chrono boost for the warpgate technology, or for chrono boosting the warpgates and so forth. But he has been chrono boosting probes as well, so the harvester count is pretty much even. Now the thing is with Katz, and what I was saying at the start about a different approach to how to deal with warpgates, with warpgate pushes in general, especially very aggressive ones over 4 warpgates. That's the target. That's where you kind of start to get overwhelmed. The thing is, you need to be wary of some things. There's going to be, if you do scout it out, if you do see that there is a warpgate push incoming, there's most likely going to be a proxy pylon planted somewhere close to your base. Now, in this case, on Shakur's Plateau, it's a big map, so can be pylons everywhere, so it is smart to keep overlords on ridges and so forth, so that they can overlook expansions and all these cliffs over here to see if a pylon is going to go down, because that's the main that's why warpgate pushes are so strong. Actually, it's not because of the units. It's, I mean, the units are generally the same units that you see every game. It's the way that they come. The thing is, the reinforcements come so fast, and basically you lose the advantage of being able to reinforce faster than your enemy, because when the enemy is attacking you and he's at your choke, he's at your base, reinforcements are going to be streaming from your two bases over here in this case very fast over here, and you're going to be able to maybe push it off. But the thing is, with warp gates, you're not going to have that, because reinforcements are going to be coming very close to your door, like front door, and because of that proxy pylon. So that's another good thing you should keep in mind. Be wary of that proxy pylon. Now I'm just going to pause the game a little bit and take a look at what the players have been doing so far. So Katz is actually getting link speed. It's halfway done, and getting level 1 attack upgrades for his links. Always a good thing, especially because when you see something like this, when you see a wall off like this Overlord, by the way, is going to get picked off. But gonna take a look at what Katz sees. For instance, in this case, he sees one warp gate and the forge. He sees the fast expansion. He knows this is coming up. He sees a sentry. Now, when you see a sentry, you're just gonna most likely gonna stop thinking there's going to be any air whatsoever. So you immediately think of warp gate pushes, because if you do get 2 bases as Protoss and you start warp gate pushing, you're gonna be able to pump out a lot of units, and Zerg has to be able to keep up with that. Now we see Katz doing what I said before, responding in the manner that he really should, and that is to out expand your opponent, your Protoss, because there's not going to be any early aggression, so you don't have to worry about it so much. So another hatchery is great to have. It's extra unit production. So yeah, do keep in mind this stuff, and do it mostly every game, unless you try to break this with some early aggression yourself. But it depends, because if a cannon has been laid down already and he has the option of making units, he has sentries to force field. This is not really a good idea to force an attack at his choke. So yeah, you can safely macro up as long as you're confident in your macroing abilities. Alright, so here we go. I'm pausing the replay, and the sound seems particularly high for some reason. I'm not exactly sure. There we go, it's much better now. So yeah, I'm pausing the replay. And yeah, so what I was saying is, if you're confident in your macroing abilities, then you can just totally outmass the Zerg, the Protoss, which is really what you want to do in this case. But in most games, people go for Roach Hydra with Corruptors in the army mix for any eventual Colossus and stuff like that. So that's really what happens for the most part. But in this game, we're gonna see something really unorthodox, and it's not something I use. For instance, I I play a little bit differently. Sometimes I do it. I have tried it. It works particularly well in 2 versus 2, because you have someone else to be able to help out. And I mean, fungal growth is a really good tool to have, but if you don't have the other units to sustain it, fungal growth by itself is not going to do anything. And now it's tricky, because infestors are pretty gas expensive, and you're going to need a lot of gas to pull this off. And you need to make sure that there is going to be enough energy to pull off all the fungal growth you want. And now I'm just going to pause the replay for a second. So in the meantime, what happened over here? We got 4 warp gates. Okay, so they're all down, and a Twilight Council. Blink is on the way. And this opening warp gate, so that's 5 warp gates. There is no proxy pylon yet, but I do believe there is a probe in here. No, I'm not sure, but most likely a proxy pylon is going to make its way close to Katz's base. Now, if we take a look at the unit counting station, Katz only has, what, 14 Zerglings, and there's 10 Stalkers, 4 Zealots, and 1 Sentry. So there you go. Now you understand what I mean by the power of 4 warp gate, or actually 5 warp gate in this case, especially off 2 bases. This is even more hardcore to hold off, because there's going to be a lot of stuff headed your way. And Zerg is a reactive race. Zerg is pretty much going to try and get the economic advantage, the base advantage, until they see there's a threat. In which case, Katz is going to see that there is a very menacing pushing coming towards his base, and he's gonna have to react. Now the thing is, with 14 Zerglings, I'm sure everybody here can agree with me, no matter what league you're in, that this is not going to go down with 14 Zerglings. So yeah, the thing is, he does have 3 bases, he can mass up an army. So what I was talking about, the infestors and fungal growth, so here we go. The infestation pit is down, and you want to get this this pathogen glands upgrade as soon as it's done, because it's a very important upgrade. It makes your infestors be able to fungal growth the second they're out, because sometimes you're just going to need those infestors right away, and when they're out you need to do the fungal growth because you're under a lot of pressure, especially when you're facing 4 warp gates. So Yeah, the idea is you get this, and when it's about halfway done, or a little bit after it's halfway done, you get the infestors, and the upgrade is going to be finished. And when your infestors pop out, they're going to have all the energy you want to be able to fungal growth. Now we can see Katz has been saving up a lot of gas here. That's 800 gas and 540 minerals. So he's going to be massing out a lot of infestors. But let's see if he does have the time to do this, and what's going to happen, and how he's going to decide to just handle this incoming push. Now I want you to look closely and just pause the game, pause your video if you have to look at what's happening again and more in depth, and to see how Katz is actually handling this. He's getting an extra hatchery here. This is more likely it's a macro hatchery, and it's something to actually this is going to delay the attack a little bit, because actually Silver is not really doesn't really care about that hatchery. He just wants to kill all the units he can, and this is really good what he's doing right here. 2 force fields on the side and blocking his stalkers behind his zealots in the corner over here at the edge. Now this hatchery is going to go down, so Katz is going to lose another hatchery, but the thing is, it will buy him the time he needs to get the additional forces out. So there we go, we see 4 infestors on the way, and they're going to be hatching soon, and that's going to offer him the fungal growth. Now another thing I want to say about fungal growth, it's really great because stalkers can't blink. And stalkers are really nerfed if they can't blink. You get blink for your stalkers, you get fungal growth, and they can't blink. Your zerglings can get this around, and so forth. And now here we go. There's some infestors here, and let's take a look how SilverSnow is going to handle this push. So this hatchery is going to offer a little bit of extra lava production for now, but it's just going to die very fast. It's more like a delay method, something that Silver can focus down. There we go. The zerglings are getting a pretty good surround on these sides. There's some fungal growth going down here. 2 fungal growths and some infested Terrans on the way, and here we go. The proxy pylon has been placed down over there. Lots of zealots streaming in as well, so the zerglings aren't really going to be able to do anything to these stalkers. So if you take a look at what's happening over here, looks like Katz is getting overrun, but let's just watch the game and see exactly what happens. Burrow is on the way as well. Now it's something you really want to get when you're getting infestors, because infestors can throw up infested Terrans from underground while they're burrowed, so that's a really good skill. Now this hatchery went down, and taking a look at unit counting station, Katz really doesn't have all that much, while the Protoss has 7 stalkers and 6 zealots. So Katz still has his expansion over here, his natural. He's placing down a lot of spine crawlers. Obviously this is a response. Maybe he should have done this even sooner, because any real experienced Zerg player would know that what he had back then wouldn't be able to take down all these forces. There we go, and pulling off 1 fungal growth before it goes down, and some more infestors over here. Take a look at the production tab again, what's happening. 6 infestors, 6 additional infestors on the way, and 2 robo facilities for the Protoss, and 1 more gateway. There we go. 1 fungal growth goes down, and there's a lot of zerglings and infestors on the way. There we go. Katz is moving in, throwing down some infested Terrans as well, pulling his drones off the line, trying to do as much damage as he can. Now, this is something you really want to do in some cases. You just want to break this push, so you're going to have to sacrifice some drones, because you cannot afford to lose your units, your damage dealing units. So here we go. Katz has moved his spine crawlers up here in the front, is taking some is trying to do some more damage onto this side, but seems like the warpgate push has been stopped for now. Now this is a good place for you as Zerg to regroup and think about your options. Now in this case you have a few options. You either get a lot of zerglings, like a lot of zerglings to deal with this, and you have the fungal growth to stop the forces and then be able to move your zerglings in there. Now if I take a look at his upgrades, he already has 2 attack upgrades, so those lings do a lot more damage now. And it looks like Silver wants to make a push, but did get fungal growth over here. So yeah, I was talking about options before. Now this is really buggy. You should be able to fungal growth from here, but you can't because it's 3D. There's actually more room under this ledge. So yeah, it's all screwed up. You can't really fungal growth unless he comes much closer. Now you have he's getting neuroparasite, by the way. So remember that he is doing this most likely for immortals, because if you do have all these infestors, you and some immortals come along. If you neuroparasite those. Then you can actually do a lot of damage to stalkers. And here we go, a lot of infested Terrans being placed down, and there's the immortals as well, but there is no energy for this ability for neuroparasite. But I want to state something: these infested Terrans do a lot of damage